Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the only show where cosplay and wrestling collide. This is a Too Sweet and Short this week. I am EJV.
Hey everyone, STVO here. It is too sweet and short for a reason this week. Unfortunately, our colleagues couldn't make it for tonight. Circumstances just beyond their controls, but we will be doing a regular episode of Too Sweet Converse next week. We have some fun ideas planned, so we will try to get something going. But as of right now, though, we're going to talk. We want to make sure we get some content out, at least one thing once a week. So we're going to talk about Retribution in full. So we saw the 5 core members come back onto Monday Night Raw. Dominick Diajakovic is now TBar. Madden is Mace. Slapjack is Thorne. And then the female members have yet to be announced with new names, but it's Mia Yim and Mercedes Martinez, and they have new looks. They aren't just wearing the black hoodies and black face masks. Many have compared them to Bane and other like Slipknot, things like that. So what we're going to talk about here is just what our thoughts of it on Raw is, if we think there's any way it could redeem itself, and just our overall thoughts on the direction of this Retribution Stable. So, EJV, what is your take on this as of right now?
Well, see, really, I was actually disappointed, kind of, to be honest, because of the fact I thought the presentation was just a little bit lazy. I won't say sloppy because they did the best they could, but the masks and everything looked kind of cheap in my eyes at the beginning, and they looked like rip-offs, like you said, of Bane or Slipknot or whatever. But when I got look up of the faces of Dio and Diajakovic, of course, Mace and TBar respectively, they actually looked pretty badass. Especially when Mace was down on the ground looking at one of the people, and he was giving that wide-eyed stare with the makeup and the mask. It looked like something out of a horror movie. It was pretty brutal. I like that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really nice scene, and but the problem I have is the whole story of how they got contracts. How is the Renegade group that set fire to a generator, beat the shit out of every single person in the building, and tore up the ring with a chainsaw, ripped the ring apart, and continuously evaded shows and evaded video feeds, gets contracts off the bat? That makes no sense. They didn't build that whole section of that story, and it doesn't make sense at all. And that's the thing that really, really drove home after I watched the show. I watched the show over again, and that was the one thing that really drove home in my head was how did they get contracts when they're causing so much chaos and damage? I know there's got to be some sort of underlying thing that we don't know about that's going to hopefully build this from what it looks like right now, a very kind of, I won't say shitty, but a very just overall disappointing reveal to something greater. I know that members of Retribution have been sparring with CM Punk on Twitter because of CM Punk making fun of Shane Thorne's mask that he was wearing. So it looked like a paper plate that he had cut out and made a Halloween mask out of, which I thought was funny. But to me, there is a lot. To me, the one thing that is going to help this group, to me, is they got to have better booking with the members. The names I'm not a big fan of because the names are just terrible. Because everybody's been mistaken for Teabag or Slapdick or whatever funny names they could come up with. I know they've been saying Bully Ray and Dave LaGreca have been saying that a lot. Yes. But to me, it's just the booking's got to be better. They got to come up with better names, in my opinion. And they got to have that one ace in the hole that's going to cement the group as a credible threat. And that is the problem I'm seeing, is that until they do something like a big reveal of the man behind Retribution, or unless Retribution makes a big enough statement, I have a feeling they're going to fade into obscurity, kind of like other groups, like the Nexus, like the new Nexus, like the Core. All those groups that came in and tried to be renegades and all that and failed miserably. I have a feeling that if things don't go right and things don't go the way that I feel, Retribution is going to be an afterthought in the WWE storyline book.
Absolutely, and yeah, like I remember we did discuss this a while back. I was trying to remain optimistic, and I could tell they did base the feedback off of their appearance on SmackDown wrecking themes. Everyone online were saying, "Oh, these guys are too short," and then you notice the week after on Raw that they suddenly grew in size, like they're like Rita Repulsa's monsters or something. But no, I mean, their appearance on this episode of Raw, I mean, I kind of thought it was cool at first. I'm like, okay, good. They look different. They're finally doing somewhat of a reveal. That's kind of cool. But yeah, the carbon copy of Bane from the Dark Knight Rises was a little bit much. I'm just glad they did differentiate it a bit. But yeah, I absolutely hate the names like TBar. Yeah, I made jokes with Teabag, but and I made a mistake calling Slapjack Slapstick like on the No DQ predictions video. And yeah, I mean, I always forget the name Mace, like with Dio Madden. But yeah, that's the thing. Like you said, like, yeah, it's ridiculous. WWE gave them contracts, like with all that chaos they've been causing. So I mean, they've released people for like doing damage destruction, like in real life, and other violent crimes. So now people are gonna be like, hey, are you gonna bring this person back? Are you gonna bring this person back? Like shit like that. I mean, I guess we're supposed to, suspend disbelief, but it's a bit out there. And then also, yeah, that's the thing though. Why are they accepting contracts? Aren't they like making fun of the WWE for like, being a corporate giant, like, and those who work for them are whores, if you will, like Diajakovic said on Raw. And also, I mean, like, aside from like Dio Madden and I guess you can say Shane Thorne, like, what's their beef? Like, I mean, what's the rest of the others' beefs? Diajakovic had plenty of TV time on NXT. Mia Yim has as well, and Mercedes Martinez, unless she's like just not happy being part of the Robert Stone brand. But I guess with Dio Madden, you could argue that he was completely forgotten after Brock Lesnar took him out in Raw commentary. But that's pretty much like just the only real argument I could see. But I don't know how they could redeem themselves. One idea I did have was like, how Shane's kind of running Raw underground. I don't want to get too off topic, but I kind of think that's like a concept that just needs to go away. I've tried giving it a chance, but I'm not big on it. But I'm thinking that like my proposal is like have Shane like have him using the Raw underground to kind of take over the WWE and also use the Retribution as a group to kind of like get his way to take over the WWE as a whole, get it away from Vince, Triple H, and Stephanie. I mean, that's what my proposal is. I mean, maybe there's a little too much McMahon's on TV, but you got to make sense out of this Retribution group. I don't really know how they could redeem themselves, really, but that's kind of how I see it. And I do think it was funny, TBar, like, going on Twitter and replying to CM Punk about his jokes and saying that, oh, this will fail like the new Nexus. But that's the thing. I think Retribution is potentially looking into failure unless they come up with something really clever to redeem this stable. I don't know what they can do, though. Is there any thoughts you're thinking, EJV? Any additional thoughts?
Yeah, actually. You mentioned something about Shane McMahon possibly being the mind behind Retribution with Raw Underground. From what I listened to Bully Ray this morning, and he had a very interesting idea. What if Triple H was the man behind Retribution? Because with all of the talent that go to NXT or go from NXT to WWE, what happens to most of them? They get changed and they fail. Finn Balor, look what happened with him. He won NXT title, got injured, and was stuck on the mid-card forever. Shinsuke Nakamura, look what happened to him. Main event WrestleMania with AJ Styles for the WWE title. And what does he do? Gets pushed into a tag team with Cesaro. Maybe Triple H is tired of Vince taking these talents and molding them into something they're not and not giving them the opportunities they deserve. And maybe the rest of the roster sees it that way, and that's their gripe. Their gripe is they know when they get to that main roster spot, they're not going to be used because the Seth Rollins, the Kevin Owens, the even Dominick Mysterio at this point, freaking only having a few matches under his belt, are being put in main event caliber matches, while these guys who have traveled the world for 15 plus years and main evented all different sorts of events are being pushed to the wayside, being put on main event. Maybe that could be an idea. Triple H, maybe Vince is like, oh, you don't have the authority to sign people to contracts. And maybe Stephanie comes into the room and goes, he does it, but I do. And it's like the ultimate power struggle for the WWE between Vince and Triple H and Stephanie over who is going to be the main person controlling WWE. Of course, the main objective will be to have Retribution win in the end.
Yeah.
Or not Retribution win in the end, but to have WWE win in the end. Excuse me. But it's kind of predictable. But in the end, I think that would be a great story to tell if it can be pulled out right and if the cards are dealt the way they need to be dealt.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. That's actually a very smart, very credible idea. But yeah, the only thing I guess at this point, I mean, they have those people in the masks, the 10 to 15 or 20 people that do run down, but it's just like they probably should have built the main five as like just really credible people like Kevin Owens or Finn Balor even. I mean, Finn's busy with his NXT championship right now, so obviously he wouldn't be one of the guys. But any number of those guys, like Nakamura and anybody really from NXT could make an argument and to be part of that stable and actually take off. But, with those masks and now the nicknames for those wrestlers, I think it's a good thing that Dominick, Diajakovic, and the other guys are having those nicknames like TBar and Slapjack and all that. I think that's good because if this thing is a complete failure, at least like they could just pretend that they were never part of it. I mean, most people can tell who these people are in those masks, but I mean, at least you could try to wipe it away the best you can without like saying, okay, I have this stink of the Retribution on me. I can go in as myself rather than whatever these alter ego personas are. So that's kind of how I see it. But yeah, I mean, I would say just be creative. They have to now just think outside the box. Do something like have, what do you propose with like Triple H leading the attack, or even Shane McMahon to say, hey, Triple H has NXT, Vince has Raw and SmackDown, Stephanie does to a degree as well, but I only have Raw Underground, but I'm going to look into taking it over. Any number of those scenarios, that might be able to redeem it, but I really don't know. I guess we're just going to have to see. Like, if it were me, if I wanted an all-new stable, I would have had the Undisputed Era come to Raw or SmackDown, or, they're doing really great with the Hurt business. Why not just have them be the top stable? I don't know. Is there anything else you could think of to add to this discussion, EJV?
Not really much. Just overall, I think that, like I said at the very beginning of this, I didn't have very high hopes, and I don't still at this point. But I'm still going to give them a chance to see what they could do. I know WWE, we all know this, that they have a habit of screwing up a potentially good storylines most of the time. But sometimes they have that one diamond in the rough that one last trick that they can pull out and make a shit storyline, make it seem great, turn chicken shit into chicken salad, as they say. Yeah. And that's it. But it's just going to be a wait and see game. So we're going to have to tune into Raw every week to find out. So.
Yeah, that's kind of my hope too. I think Survivor Series time, it'll be sink or swim. They can either just kill them off at the Survivor Series, or if they've been developing it well enough, maybe they could bloom into something huge to use beyond. That's really all else I can say. But we want to turn it over to you, the viewers. What is your thoughts? Do you think there's any chance that Retribution could redeem itself, or do you think it's kind of a lost cause and they should just move on to something else? We want to hear. Thank you for watching this Too Sweet and Short with the EJV and myself, STVO. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already on the Too Sweet Cosplay YouTube channel. Be sure to follow us at Too Sweet Cosplay on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right.
Too sweet, everybody.
Too sweet, everyone. You have a great weekend.